Okay, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about cleaning 78 records. Last week we went up north and we bought a whole bunch of 78 records, almost all of them without any kind of sleeve or anything, and they're grubby. They're, you can see they're dirty and they're dusty and they may be scratched, but it's hard to say. They don't actually look all that scratched, but they just have a bunch of kind of junk in it. So here's the good news, is that these things are made out of actually shellac and mineral, basically like slate or some kind of pulverized rock and shellac, which makes these things, they're tough, they're brittle. In other words, they'll break if you drop them, but they don't scratch as easily as a typical vinyl record. And the surface is actually waterproof, which is as opposed to an Edison cylinder, which will come apart on water and can only be cleaned with alcohol. These are the other way around. Alcohol, of course, will dissolve shellac, so you want to use just water with a very, very small amount of maybe dish soap. Warm water dish soap, and I use a kind of a soft bristle plastic brush. You don't want to soak the label, although the label, they get wet in the process, at least the way I do it. I don't see any way to not get the label wet because I want to clean everything up and up to the label. So basically, we have some warm, soapy water, kind of put it in there and spin that around, get that wet, get the brush, and just kind of go around. You don't need to scrub the heck out of it, but if they're really grungy, you need to, you don't want to put a lot of elbow grease into it, but you need to get in there a little bit. This one, it was really especially dirty around the edge. So you clean that out and then turn on. Again, you don't want to soak the label. The label's going to have to get wet a little bit. So, and then you can look at it and you'll see little cloudy spots, like right there, there's a little cloudy section. So you can kind of rub that out with your hand and you'll see that cloudiness goes away. What happens is, a lot of this stuff is basically record dust. In other words, it is the surface of the record will get kind of slightly picked up, or some of the dust on the record will get picked up by the needle and kind of redistributed and just and then we set it down. Let me bring this over here a little bit on a towel and go around and set it on a towel. We're not going to get this 100% dry. We're going to get the label really dry. We don't want any on the label. These are Columbia, almost all these, and so they're well made. The label doesn't come up, the glue won't come up. Some of the cheaper records, maybe so. And there we have it. It already, you can tell by looking, it already looks a lot more uniform, a lot shinier. It may still be a little scratchy. And then what we do is, here we go, the old dishwasher to the rescue. So we put them in the dishwasher drain board and let them dry. And just leave them in there for a couple hours till they get dry. And then they're ready to play. And that's it. So when you get a stack of records, and again, typically they'll look kind of beat up and old and dusty, especially if they've been sitting around a store without a sleeve. If you look close, you can tell, you learn what labels are well made and also what labels contain music you want, and you read the description of the record, and then you make sure the record's not broken or any chips are outside the playable area. In other words, I bought a few records that had little tiny chips at the very edge, but they won't affect the play. And I got them for 89 cents each or something, so I'm willing to take a gamble on that, right? And if you don't see a whole bunch of, kind of radial scratches, really bad radial scratches are of course bad news, and of course you gotta look for breaks, because you can actually have a record that's cracked and you won't really know until you examine it closely, but it'll be incredibly noisy when you play it, and it'll come apart in your hands real soon. So assuming we don't have radial scratches or breaks or chips that go into the playable area, and you look at it and it looks reasonably uniform, reasonably clean, even though it looks dull and dusty and a little bit hazy, you can clean a lot of that up and it'll generally play fairly well.